Darwin Platform Group of companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Patra. This is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Also joining in with me is Shail Bhatnagar, and we've been looking at record highs on the Nifty yet again. 22,500 as a milestone is now with us, and of course a whole host of sectors are now participating. Banks are coming back in flavor as well. Since yesterday, metals are shining bright. It's the Tata Group stocks that are hogging all the limelight amid the buzz of Tata Sons listing coming forward. Those are the kind of stocks that are making all the limelight today. And now Moody's has come out with some statements which has just come on the Cadences terminal, and Moody's has said that India's banks on the banking space is what they have mentioned, that Indian banks' asset quality will continue to improve, the profitability remains healthy, Indian banks' funding and liquidity will remain stable as well, and therefore they have a positive outlook on India. So lots of positives, Shail, to cater to.
So good afternoon, Sakshi, and as always, rating agencies are way behind the market. They react when the horses have bolted the stable, and you can see that happening across the board on many PSU banks. To be precise, they are late by 18 months, if not more. And the outlook on the Indian banking sector has been very bright for the last 18 months. The Nifty PSU banking index is already at a record high. So you can, take Moody's with a pinch of salt is what I feel. But again, the action today is in the Tata Group. And let me just give you some very interesting data. As of yesterday and between yesterday evening when the market shut and today, about 65,000 crores worth of market capitalization has been added within the Tata Group, and across the board you see a very sharp rally coming in Tata Chemicals at a record high, which is somewhere like 13-17 as far as prices are concerned. Intraday highs are much higher. Tata Power now at 428.80. The interesting thing, Sakshi, is if you look at the top 7 traded counters by volume on the Nifty 500, 4 of them are from the Tata Group, and they are Tata Chemicals 5,500 crores, Tata Power 3,500 crores, Tata Steel 1,678 crores, and Tata Motors you have about 1,500 crores. There is absolutely no surprise there. All 4 of them hold Tata Sons as one of their unlisted holdings, and the theme in the market is that sometime later in the future Tata Sons will get listed, and it's the value unlocking that's happening. We've been tracking 2 calls within Tata Power. We've been looking at the 395 call, and I'd just like to update our viewers. We had caught the Tata Power call somewhere in the vicinity of 14 rupees, and it's at 43 rupees now. So the value has tripled, and we also are looking at the Tata Steel 155 rupee call, which was isolated at I think 5 rupees 35 paisa. It's gone all the way up to 7.6 rupees. So this is the most interesting time to be within the Tata Group. The market capitalization of the Tata Group has now exceeded 32 lakh crore rupees, 65,000 crores coming between 9:15 a.m. and 2:37 p.m. Sakshi.
Absolutely. So that's what is the action around the Tata Group stocks. We're now joined by a very special guest. Soni Patnaik now joins in. AVP Derivatives Research from JM Financial is with us. Sony, good afternoon. Good to have you with us on Business Today TV. Um, okay. All right. We'll try and connect with Sony. I think she's yet to join us. But in the meanwhile, let me also talk about the kind of move that we've been seeing across the board, apart from the Tata Group as well. On the Nifty, you have stocks like Bajaj Auto that are soaring higher. Remember, Rajesh Palbia was positive on this one, and he had talked about an 8800 kind of target, which has now been achieved 3% higher. The stock is already moving at the day's high level. Apart from this, we also have Hindalco, JSW Steel, some of those steel counters that are buzzing in trade. From the Tata stable, Tata Motors, Tata Consumer Products are now moving higher in trade as well. Tata Steel for sure is up by 4% right now. So of the 4-5 movers on the Nifty, you have at least 3 stocks from the Tata Group. UPL is moving up, Bajaj Twins, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv are moving, Bajaj Auto is moving, and then you also have stocks like Asian Paints and also ITC, Larsen and Tubro. These are some of the other buzzers at this point in time as well. And on the F&O space, we now have stocks like Cholamandalam Investment, Chambal Fertilizers that we had touched base upon in the morning trade. Those were moving. Exide Industries, Glenmark Pharmaceuticals is at a fresh high again. So that's the one that's moving in from the pharma space. Again, Laurus Labs is in the action today. So laboratory stocks are back in flavor. Divis, Laurus, both of them are up in trade. And you also have Oracle Financial Services software that we had talked about in the morning. That's still holding up 3.5% higher in trade. Among the sectors, apart from the losses in the oil and gas and some private banks, rest of the sectors are actually moving up in trade, and the IT stocks have also recovered in trade as of now. Realty, PSU banks, they're all moving up in trade as of now. We'll wait for Sony to join in and to help us with the stock ideas. Let's look at some of the buzzing stocks. MCX is buzzing at 2.7% higher in trade. Okay, so we do have Sony Patnaik with us. Sony, good afternoon. Welcome to you, and thanks a lot for taking the time out for this discussion. You know, we've been discussing all day through about the Tata Group stocks, the momentum that's been gathering pace here, and stocks like Tata Chemicals, its subsidiary Rallis India, rallying 12% odd on an intraday basis as well. Are you also keeping an eye out on the Tata Group stocks today?
Hi, good afternoon, Sakshi and Shailendra. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Yes, definitely. I think Tata entire pack is running and it's showing quite a lot of signs of strength. Tata Chemicals, especially in the past 2 days, it has seen quite an aggressive rally. And it started with Tata Motors, Tata Chemicals, and even today you can see Tata Power also showing very strong. So I think Tata Power has given a fresh breakout today, and coming days it can even test 450, 460. The breakout level was 420. So I think these stocks are looking quite strong. After the Tata Power, you can also see Tata Steel. It has also given very fresh breakout today, above 157 again. So I think it can test 165 in the coming days. So these are some of the stocks which are, are yet to show that run up like Tata Chemicals did, but then they are at the fresh breakout.
Yeah. Good afternoon to you, Sony, and a very warm welcome on market today. Any stock that catches your fancy or attention on the long side or the short side? We've seen record highs on the Nifty and on many other indices. The mood is fabulous on Dalal Street. What do you think Thursday will end at?
So the first stock will be Tata Steel, like I just discussed, is looking quite strong and is heading towards a target of 165. That stock can be seen. So there are multiple support, but the immediate support for Tata Steel one can just look around 154. That's a good support. So with the stop loss of 154, can keep a target of 165. That's one stock on the long side. The other stock will be HDFC Life. So HDFC Life has giving a good breakout above 600 level, and for like it happened 2 days ago, it's just been sustaining above 600. The stock is showing good potential. Today it has crossed 100 EMA even on the charts. So with a stop loss of 600, 605, which is a very strong support, one can just buy on small dips around 6.5 and keep a stop loss of 600, target for of 650, 660.
Okay. Right. Sony, what about ITC? That stock is coming after a long haul. It's moving up 413 right now. It's about a 1.3% higher in trade. Of course, FMCG space has been a big laggard, but after about 1 or 2 months odd, it's coming back in flavor. ITC, how would you really look at the stock?
So ITC has bounced from the level of 400. It was constantly hovering around those levels, and today we've seen that it's trying to cross 2050 EMA on charts with good volumes, positive divergence on MACD and RSI. So going ahead, keeping a stop loss of 400, it can bounce towards 425, 413 short-term trading sessions. I think that one can look at. The ultimate reversal can get confirmed only once it's up above 435. So above that, we can see 450, 460 levels. But as of now, 425, 430 can be the best target.
Okay. So that's as far as ITC is concerned and the view coming in on that. Apart from this, how would you really look at the move or the fresh move in the banking space now, Sony? We've seen the private banks come back in action yesterday, a whole host of them now participating. Is this a move that will be sustainable?
Definitely, Sakshi. I think banking is looking quite strong from current levels, and you can see that it's the only sector, the only space which had not performed quite well in comparison to how IT had performed like a quarter past quarter, and then how Nifty has been continuously outperforming the index altogether. So I think Bank Nifty has given that breakout. Going forward, it can test its previous all-time highs of 48,600. Any move above that, you can see 49,500 plus levels in Bank Nifty. So most likely the March series looks quite bullish for Bank Nifty. If we talk about immediate support for Bank Nifty, 47,500 works well, and below that 46,500 is also strong support. And if we talk about individual private bank stocks from these levels which can help Bank Nifty achieve those higher levels, the first would be Axis Bank. So Axis Bank yesterday had seen quite a strong short covering. It gave a breakout in option chain above 1100. So I think that's quite strong, keeping a stop loss of 1100, 1090 at best as a stop loss. One can just buy Axis Bank at current levels and target of 1180 to 1200 in the coming days.
Okay. Sakshi, I think we'll just look at some different part of the market and focus on Hindustan Aeronautics. What's really interesting is that although the stock is at a record high, the put call ratio is rising for the last 6 days in a row, and that shows extreme strength. Sony, if you would just pay attention to Hindustan Aeronautics and share your view. I'll give you some good data on it after that.
So I think the stock has given a good breakout. 3140, I remember, was the level where it was struggling to give the breakout. Above that, 30 to 50 was its first target. It has achieved those targets and yet continuing in that uptrend. Current levels, we can see that 3400 is very much on cards. One can just trail the stop loss to 3200, 30 to 50 as of now. Hold the stock for the target of 3400, which can be on cards for coming weeks.
Okay, a rise in the put call ratio essentially means that bullish bets on the stock are rising, and if that is accompanied by a rise in price, that is sone pe suhaga. Therefore, you see this very sharp move probably coming into Hindustan Aeronautics, and there is another tadka for this tezi, which is that the cash volumes in Hindustan Aeronautics are also above the 5-day average, which are about almost now 19.95 lakh shares, the 5-day average being 16.4. So keep an eye out on Hindustan Aeronautics, and let's also, since we are getting very lucky these days with the options trades, let's see what HAL has to offer when its option chain is concerned. Okay, there is positivity there, and since we are at 3335, let's look at the 3300 call. 3300 call is already very sharply up 118 rupees, but let's see what magic this call has done in the past. Okay, it's already at a record high. Let's avoid that. Apart from HAL, let's look at Tata Consumer. A record high here, Sony. Any view that you would want to share at Tata Consumer 1268? Again, one of those companies which has Tata Sons shares unlisted.
So on charts, a very fresh breakout. Tata Consumer backed with good volumes also and good long beta position. Stock is heading towards 1300, which is its next resistance as per the derivative option chain. Just one can continue to hold the stock if already they are holding at lower levels, and just trail the stop loss to 1220. Fresh entry at this level, just try to buy a bit on a small dip, maybe like 0.5%, 1% of a dip that you can see, maybe around 1240. That would be the ideal range to just re-enter and reinitiate longs again. Keep a stop loss of 1220 and then target of 1300.
Okay. So that's as far as Tata Consumer is concerned. Sony, anything else that is apart from the Tata Group that is catching your attention in this kind of a market as well? Any other sector, any other space that is buzzing on its own?
I think a lot of stocks that have already moved from the Tata space, as of now, I'm not able to see any fresh stock which has given the breakout outside of the universe. But, I think let's just see in case there's something I'll definitely highlight.
Okay. Tell us if you have found any fresh moves in the pharma space or the healthcare pack laboratory stocks. Some of those are showing some traction. Is there merit in that?
So Sun Pharma, again, it's a good, yesterday was good long built up positions and a fresh breakout. So, keeping a stop loss of 1580, Sun Pharma can be seen, and, it's definitely heading poised to test 1650 levels. I think that's the first stock one can look for. It's a clean, good breakout. The rest of the stocks are not exactly a breakout, but if you look at Granules as the second pick, the stock has definitely been performing well, and it's trying to sustain above the support of 445. So I think 455 around, if the price can be seen, one can just initiate longs, keep a stop loss of 445 and target of 470, 475.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the other mover, Bajaj Auto. What is the next target that comes to your mind on Bajaj Auto? The way it has moved is like pretty strong, and even right now we can see it's now inching closer to 8900. So it's at 8896 right now.
I think Bajaj Auto, it's difficult to just predict a fresh target from current levels. Stock has been in continuous uptrend, and just sort of seeing the spike coming from 8400 levels. So the risk reward ratio is also not quite favorable at current levels. In case it's able to test 9000, 9050 odd levels, one can just look forward to book the profits and just wait for a sizable dip to re-enter the longs.
Okay, so this is the view that's coming in on Bajaj Auto. Let's just shift focus away from the Tata Group, away from the auto space, and look at stocks that are at circuit, the upper circuit to begin with. So we'll start with Force Motors. It's again one of those vehicle stocks, up 10%, 6,490. We have Tata Invest, again 5% higher. I think this is the third or the fourth, fifth 5% circuit that we are looking at. Sakshi will remember Azad Engineering.
Yes.
This is an IPO whose management was with us, and both of us had promised that we'll visit them in Hyderabad. Between that time and now, the stock has doubled. 1362, 5% higher. Within the defense pack, Zen Technologies is 5% higher, 948. And what's looking good? There's some names that I'd rather not take, but they are also doing pretty well. Ganesh Housing is up 5%. 783, and Dredging Corporation is up 5%, 710. I've just tried to keep a lot of sectoral feel into this as far as prices are concerned, and a lot of buying coming back into the wind power generation companies, as also ancillaries dealing with wind power. So Inox Wind is 5% higher, 523. Remember, about 3 days ago, the government had introduced a change in how wind power would be bid via the reverse bidding process, and that had hit a lot of sentiment on the Lal Street as far as this price is concerned. I think Suzlon today is also on 5% upper circuit. I may be mistaken, but it sure was in the morning. So this is something that you can look at. And of course, where else is momentum coming? Sakshi, a lot of erstwhile favorites within the PSU space, HUDCO, has signed a 5,000 crore memorandum of understanding with an Indian company. That's coming back in flavor, about 4.6% higher. I saw a green tick on SGVN also. Yes, 2.5% higher at 122.50. We have PNB flat. NLC India has recovered from its intraday low. Irida is up 5% again after weeks and weeks of lower circuit. So this is the kind of flavor, apart from the Tata Group, that's there in the market. Sakshi.
Absolutely. Soni, if you could also look at the chemicals and the fertilizers basket and tell there is a fresh move that could be chased here. Of course, Tata Chemicals we've discussed, but beyond that also some of those names are actually buzzing. So Chambal Fertilizers, for example, is up and about. In the FNO space, it's nearly up 7%. Apart from this, UPL, that's up in trade. We've been looking at Coromandel International to GM, Gujarat Narmada Valley as well. How are you looking at this fresh move across the space now?
I think Chambal fertilizer should be the stock to watch out for. Very good volumes today. There's a very strong positive MSCT divergence as well. And 380 seems to be the resistance, but then the kind of long built up positions it has built up today with good delivery volumes. It's most likely to take out the resistance of 380 and head towards 400 also. I think the stock can definitely be kept to watch. The stop loss or the support level for this stock from current price can be kept at 360, which is quite looking as a strong support. I think this would be the first pick, and the second would be the GNFC. That's also a stock which is trying to bounce back, shows some sort of reversal patterns, but it becomes sort of a conditional pick. Only if it's able to cross 650 level, one can look at GNFC. Above 650, it can test 680, 700 levels. I think that's a level to watch out for. One can just look for this level to watch across 650. But as of now, Chambal fertilizers seem to have given that breakout. I think Chambal fertilizer would be the better bet.
Okay, Chambal could be a better bet. And in fact, Shail, you were mentioning about SJVN. There's a news that in its subsidiary has got an order to develop a solar power project worth 1352 megawatts. And for that, it has got a letter of award, and therefore you can see that spike. I think that's the news that's triggered this fresh move on SJVN. Do you track this stock at all, Soni?
The stock has moved pretty much. Obviously, I don't track a lot on this, but then definitely, we can see that the stock is quite strong on charts as of now. And 118, 115 is a good support. If it's able to hold 115, it can, bounce above 128, 130 odd levels. So above that, you can see some more fresh longs coming in.
Okay.
Let's again look at some other price moves which might be trending in nature. And the world is running away from NBFCs, Sakshi, but some of the real quality ones are showing very, very smart moves. Perhaps this is because smart money is moving into stocks such as Cholamandalam Investment. It's the top gainer today in terms of how prices are moving. I think up 4.5%. The counter is still below 200-day moving average and has corrected from 1320. Volume is substantial, and that's the reason why I'm requesting Sony to take a look About 42 lakh shares have been traded. I think it's the easiest, the highest volume in 6 months or so. Sony, would you take a look at Cholamandalam Investment and Finance, 1083?
Right. So, stock is looking good. 1083. It has seen a substantial reversal today. There's good volume. It is trying to build a, show a bullish engulfing candle pattern sort of. But then resistance is also quite nearby. Any move above 1100, 1110 only we can see that it can test further levels. But as of now, until and unless it's not able to cross that resistance of 1100, 1110, just like wait and watch and see how the stock can perform in the coming trading days. The important thing is that with today's green candle, there should be a follow-up green candle in the subsequent trading session to confirm that these resistance can be taken out. So that's the reason why it can be just kept as a wait and watch for now.
Okay. So that's, and IIFL Finance, that's the one that has now hit an upper circuit of 10%. Remember, this stock was down 20% on the previous two trading sessions, hitting lower circuits on a back-to-back basis after RBI's ban came in with immediate effect on the company to issue further fresh loans. But there's an upper circuit today that has been seen for 20 odd. And we had talked about it that the circuit filter was going to be revised today after two back-to-back circuits, and probably this has to do with the company coming out with clarification that they are working on all the observations that the RBI has made, and they are likely to resolve all of them by March end as well. So that's as far as IIFL Finance is also concerned. The metal space is shining pretty bright, and 1.5% move can be seen on that one right from the morning trade. Apart from Tata Steel, we have JSW Steel, Hindalco, and many other stocks that are buzzing. SAIL was buzzing in the morning trading session as well. Sony, from the metals basket, anything interests you at this point?
I think Sakshi have already shared in Tata Steel and would like to hold for that stock, but that there's nothing for the moment. So I think Tata Steel is the only pick for now.
Okay. All right. So, you know what, we'll be also be joined by a very special guest again. Apart from Sony, we'll also have Sudeep Shah now joining in very, very shortly, Deputy Vice President, Head of Technical and Derivatives Research. We'll be joined by him very shortly. Thanks a lot, Sony, for being with us onto this special edition and share with us such wonderful insights. Always a pleasure to host you with us on Business Today. Viewers, we'll take a break, and once we return, we will discuss with Sudeep what are the next favorites that he is betting big on and what are the strategies he's recommending in the market. Stay with us.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, with me Shail Bhatnagar, and now we're joined by Sudeep Shah, Deputy Vice President, Head of Technical and Derivatives Research at SBI Securities. Sudeep, good afternoon. Good to have you with us. Tata stocks are taking all the limelight, and of course the buzz around Tata Sons is clearly what has got everyone thinking as to what it has in store for all the listed companies, and especially the 4 or 5 companies that have holdings in Tata Sons as well. And once that listing really happens around September of 2025, and what should be the strategy now, especially on stocks like Tata Chemicals, which are being seen as the biggest candidate from the Tata Group for a re-rating because of the kind of holding Tata Sons has in Tata Chemicals. How are you looking at this development, and what are you advising investors who may be calling you as to what should be their strategy on the Tata Group stocks?
Yeah, good afternoon, Sakshi, and first of all, wishing you and all the viewers a happy Women's Day. What we're seeing in terms of Tata Chemical here is, and in fact, all the Tata stocks now, uh, uh, the stock which has moved, say, around roughly 25-27% in the last two sessions. Actually, it is the entire underperformance of the last 2 years. The stock was trading between 950 and 1230. This is just a breakout out of that consolidation. So I feel the overall prospects for this stock, if someone has to hold it for say a 2 to 3 year period, then it's quite good. But from a extreme short term perspective, if someone wants to enter right now from a trading perspective, then I would advise him not to do that because I feel from the current levels there could be some cool off. It might not be a big correction, but at least the momentum indicators would cool off. So entering right now from an extreme short term trading perspective would be not appropriate from a risk reward perspective. But if you are a long term investor and you wish to hold this stock for few years from now on, then I feel at the current price also and on dips, it would still be okay to add this stock.
To you, Sudeep, and a long time no see. You've more or less disappeared from Mumbai. We've been trying to get hold of you for so long. I hope all is well.
All is well, Shelji, and always good to talk to you, and always good to be on air with you, on even off air also.
Chaliye. Now let's pay attention to what is going to happen next week. See, tomorrow is a holiday, and so overnight Wall Street will trade today, as also tomorrow. Then we have a weekend, and of course on Monday we'll have a collective, how should I say, response to all that has happened. Medium term, any pick that you would suggest which might ignore volatility and perform well next week?
See, I feel if you see the large caps and the mid cap size now, in the last one week, whatever we have seen, the action in the large caps and equally destruction in kind of the price action in terms of mid caps. I feel it will still be better placed if one is in large caps for the next few days, because stocks like say Bharti Airtel, TCS, then Larsen, Titan, they all are breaking out one after the other, and that is what is leading Nifty to say to a level like 22,500. And despite Reliance not performing today, now let us not forget that Reliance is down today and it has not supported the markets, and even ICICI Bank as well as Axis Bank have gone sideways today after that rally in the last few days. So I feel from a large cap space, it is still better. A lot of stocks churning is happening, and in the next week also, I feel that one should be positioned in large caps also, and within the large caps, I feel Larsen is one stock which we should be keeping an eye on, because from the current levels also this stock warrants a buy. It is holding above its 10-day exponential moving average, which is around 35.80, 35.90. After a big consolidation for the entire month of February, we have seen a breakout at higher levels now. So all in all, I feel Larsen could be the pick for the next week, and one could buy this with a stop loss of 3600 on the downside and a potential target of 3850, 3890 on the upside in the next 3 to 4 sessions.
Okay. Right. So those are the stocks that you're looking at, Larsen and Tubro, Bharti Airtel. Those we'll keep in mind as well. How about the banking space, Sudeep? How have you assessed the fresh move, especially in the private banking space? Any particular stocks that you're adding in this fresh move?
If you see the Bank Nifty specifically, Bank Nifty has just managed to reach to the levels where it was there on 16 January, and post that there was a big gap down of 1,000, 1,200 points on Bank Nifty. So we've just seen Bank Nifty closing that gap. But for a move from here on, Bank Nifty should hold on to 47,400, 47,500, where, and in the next few days, I feel we could see some consolidation around this zone. So 47,400, 500 could act as a strong support during this consolidation. Until the time this holds, we expect Bank Nifty to move up to 48, 700 on the upside and register a new all-time high there also. So with for that, I feel stocks like say ICICI Bank, which is kind of laggard today, 0.5% down, but in the last few days it has outperformed and it is still trading above its key moving averages. Say even from a short-term perspective, the shortest moving average, which is 10-day exponential moving average, it is even sustaining those levels above those levels. So I feel overall 1060, 1070 zone should act as a strong support, which were the resistances earlier. Mind you, in the last 1 or 2 months, there were several instances where 1060, 1070 has acted as a resistance, and now that zone will act as a support. So on dips, this should be a good pick from the positional perspective, not just from an intraday or 1 or 2 days perspective, but if someone intends to hold it and ride the entire banking rally, then I feel ICICI Bank would be one stock that he or she should watch out for and should add between 1075, 1085 with a stop loss of 1060. The potential targets here I see are 1125, 1140 on the upside.
Okay. Sudeep, let's just gauge your view on IndusInd Bank. It's rallied for the 7th day in a row, and it's rare for this kind of a stock to move uniformly in a single direction. So I think this is one of the only stocks within Nifty that has moved with such rapidity and such consistency. What are the charts of IndusInd Bank telling you?
Actually, if you see IndusInd Bank, like all the other private sector banks, it was underperforming for a better part of January and even till the month of February, till the end of February, till expiry. So post that we have seen a sudden crossover above the 10 as well as 20-day exponential moving average. The stock has sustained and even closed above those key averages for a couple of days. And then this journey from 1500 up to 1560, which we have seen today in the last 4 sessions, which also involves four sequences of higher tops and higher bottoms. Now, this is a good sign. And what we are seeing is that today it is even managing to cross and sustain above the February swing highs, which are at 1564. Remember, the second high was 1564, and thereafter we had seen a slide up to the 200 DMA, which was around 1450. So now that old resistance around 1560 has also been taken out, and incidentally, the stock is trading exactly at the same level. So if we are able to see the stock close above 1550, which in all probabilities it should do, as only 20 minutes are remaining. But if the close is above 1550, then the next levels that we could expect in the stock could be around in the range of 1600 and 1620 on the upside. It might take a while because this stock generally has a tendency of moving slowly and not giving sharp gains in a couple of sessions. So might be it could test patience, but the overall trend looks good, and 1530 should act as a strong stop loss on the downside, and we could see levels of 1620 to 1640 on the upside.
Okay. Um,
Okay.
right.
Uh, yeah, Sakshi, please go ahead.
So Shell, like you were pointing out that everybody is running away from NBFCs, but there's a strong comeback happening across the board. Apart from IFL Finance that has recovered and has now bounced 10% higher. We have Cholamandalam Investment that's at 6% uptick right now, 1082. We have PNB Housing Finance that's up by 4% right now. Hutco, you mentioned, it's 4% higher. Shriram Finance is up by 3% odd as well. So we are seeing a slew of companies really move up now. Anything in the NBFC space, Sudeep, that strikes you? Sudeep, could you unmute yourself, please? Yeah.
Yeah. Sakshi, all the names which you've just mentioned, whether it is Chola, whether it is Bajaj, or a host of all these other NBFC names, out of that, I feel only there is one stock which I like, which is Shriram Finance. Now, this is purely because of the fact that not because these stocks have some of them have had a 3 to 5% pullback, or case like IIFL Finance where it has been 8 to 10% up today. But the only fact is that I trade and I analyze stocks based on the relative strength. So compared to the NSE 500 or their own individual indices, if a stock is strong, then that comes into my list. So accordingly, what I'm seeing on the charts, Shriram Finance, if you compare against the say NSE Financial Services Index or NSE 500, that is hitting a higher high on the ratio charts on the relative strength basis. So that gives me a confidence that this stock is potentially outperforming all these major indices. But if you see all these other stocks, including Bajaj Finance, in the last 1 month, we have seen the relative strength charts deteriorate day by day. It is just that in the last 2 3 days the fall has accelerated, but the signs were ominous of say week or two earlier only, because the relative strengths it was deteriorating. So I feel overall within the entire space, Shriram Finance looks extremely strong and could even head to higher levels of 2600, 2650. And one could add this, or even if someone is holding this, then the trailing stop loss should be around 2375 on the downside.
Okay. Sakshi, we'll do some option ideas for our viewers. I'll request Sudeep to look at TVS Motors. As you know, auto has been going through a very huge surge, and especially TVS Motors, record highs. But if you see the 2300 call for TVS Motors, that is showing some kind of unwinding as well as resistance at current levels. Sudeep, if you would just stick your neck out on the 2300 call, do you think it's overheated?
Yes, of course, Sanjay, if you see the charts also and you see put the 2300 call alongside this, then I feel what we are seeing is that this is potentially some kind of of a resistance zone which is being formed. And even despite a gap up say, opening, and as well as stock hitting levels of 2310, 2313 at higher levels earlier in the day, we were seeing additions in 2300 calls, which is still right now having the highest open interest. So there was, despite the stock being about 2300, sustaining at that level in the first 15-20 minutes, we did not see any unwinding in 2300 calls, which generally should have been the case in case the stock was bullish and intended to go above 2300. So I feel this could act as a potential resistance for a while now, and rises to 20 to
Yes.
80, 2300 could act. We could see some selling pressure there. And equally on the downside, 2210, 2220 zone now could act as an important support, because there we are seeing a lot of open interest additions in 2260 as well as 2240 puts. So dips to 2210, 2220 should be used to go long, but one should book their positions closer to when the stock approaches 2295, 2300 levels.
Okay, in any case, said the 2300 call has moved from a high of, I think, just let me get that number right. Today morning, the high was 68, and it's now 46. So much of the move has happened. But the point I'm just trying to say is that there is heavy resistance that TVS is facing at current levels, and very smart options traders are actually using that to sort of either sell the call. And let me just show you how the put has moved of the same transaction. So at 2300, the put has actually also moved very sharply from a low of 56 to a high of 80. Now this is really interesting. Let's see what is the highest level of this put. It is 200 rupees. So if TVS were to fall further from these levels, this 2300 put will also rise. This is something that we'll check on Monday. But remember, 2300 TVS put at 82 is what we are marking. Sakshi.
Okay, absolutely. We'll continue to keep an eye out on this one on TVS Motors as well. Sudeep, how are you looking at the mid and the small cap basket? And we've seen volatile action, small cap index falling 8% from its peak, and then recovering in trade today, a percent higher now. Is the bottom made now? Would you say that? And for the small caps, is it again going to be on the way up?
Sakshi, let's talk a bit about data while we're talking about mid cap and the small cap index now. As I was just sharing that we study this particular stuff from a relative strength perspective, we feel that the small cap as well as the mid cap index could potentially see some underperformance still going ahead because we are, a lot of traction in large caps is being witnessed right now. And just to add a data point here, while we're talking, 70% of the Nifty 50 stocks are currently above the 20-day exponential moving average, while from the NSE 500, which broadly represents a lot of small caps and mid caps also, there it's only 40% stocks which are trading above the 20-day exponential moving average. So this shows that a lot of traction, a lot of charts in Nifty 50 are much better, strongly put in compared to all these remaining segments of small cap and mid cap. Now, between the mid cap and the small cap index, I feel mid cap index is much better placed than the small cap because we feel the small cap indices are much vulnerable at these current levels, and they could test levels of 15,000, 15,200 on the downside, which is closer to the January low. And they have even broken some intermediate swing supports. But for the mid cap index, it has not even broken the January as well as the February lows. And in that index, I feel that 47,800, which is the 50-day exponential moving average for that index, then if that holds, we could still see some consolidation within the mid cap indices space. But see, overall, this is from an index level, but a lot of stocks that we are seeing, a lot of selling pressure has already been done now, and there are no signs of reversal yet. So I would still stick my neck out and say that next 1 month or 2 months, as we are heading into the elections where there could be heightened volatility, large caps will offer us a better space in terms of security, in terms of capital protection, and in terms of execution with the proper liquidity.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
Sakshi, another options trade, let's mark. I'll take your attention on this one, Sudeep ji. This is Emphasis. What we'll do is, first we'll draw the long-term chart of Emphasis. Sakshi, this has been falling for 11 days. And now at a very decent support of say 2,500 rupees.
Okay.
And now let's look at the 2,500 call, which is at 84 rupees 60 paisa. It has fallen 24 rupees even today. And I'm hoping that you'll see a very decent rise in this one by Monday. So 3 days nothing is going to happen. So Sudeep bhai, positionally, the 2,500 call on Emphasis, what would you say at 84 rupees? The all-time high on this one is 220.
Shelly, let's first just see this from a charts perspective, and then we'll go on the open interest front also. Now, what we are seeing is that the stock is just retested its 100-day moving average today. Last 4 or 5 days, we have seen a lower top, lower bottom formation also. And today also, after a positive opening, the entire candle has been negated, and we are seeing the stock closing at the lows of the day. So the basic reversal pattern is not in place here. I feel, and even the stock is closing below its consolidation zone of the last 3-4 months, which is around 25.20, 25.15. It has not closed there in the last 3-4 months a single time also. In fact, starting from 20th of December. I feel from the current levels, we should wait for the stock to move about 25.30, 25.40. Then we could buy any at the money call at that point. But at the current level, while the trend is on the downside, when we are seeing, if you see the options data also, 2,500 calls today also have seen a decent addition. The total open interest contracts are around 303, out of which 193 contracts have been added today. So I feel from that perspective, there is still call writing which is going on there. And if you see the put side, there are only 100 contracts which I've added today at lower levels. So I feel that it's still looking at the PCR also. I feel we should wait for a day or two before buying a call on the upside. And with 3 days of leave into the markets, I guess with the markets not working for 3 days, it could be some kind of a time value impact also there. So I would wait and
Decay.
wait for the stock to cross about 25-30 on Monday.
Okay. All right, so there is some news flow coming in from PTI, and this is with respect to UCO Bank. There is news flow that CBI has conducted search operations at 67 places of UCO Bank related to UCO Bank. They have said that there could be some transactions worth about 820 odd crore rupees that may be under question that they are looking at. The stock has slipped towards the end of the session, about 2% lower right now on the back of this news flow coming in from PTI right now. We'll keep an eye out on UCO Bank. But you know what's picking up pace interestingly, Sudeep, is the FMCG basket. Of course, Tata Consumer Products is there because of the entire move, but Radico Khaitan, Marico, ITC, Nestle, HUL, Colgate Palmolive, Imami, the entire basket is showing some strength. Finally, they may be feeling bad that they haven't participated at all in this kind of a move. But do you think there is merit, or is this just like a day or two's move?
Uh, See, Sakshi, what I feel is that given this space, it was just the space was waiting for ITC to move and take support and start showing signs of a reversal. Now, if you see FMCG index, which was underperforming, and I feel it's still underperforming, it is not yet broken out. But from the lower end of a consolidation zone, the entire FMCG has taken FMCG index has taken support at 53,500, and now we are seeing it at least trying to test its upper end of the consolidation band since 9th February now. So above 54 500, 54 550, I feel this index could witness a reversal of say more 700, 600, 700 points, which could be 50% retracement of the entire down move from 58,000. So above 54 500, I feel this move could be much likely. And for that, I feel I would go with, say, Tata Consumer, which is already there in an uptrend. And it has outperformed till now while the indices are rebounding today. But Tata Consumer has been building up gains in the since the last few sessions. Apart from that, apart from Tata Consumer, one stock which I have on my radar in the last few days, which also has kind of held the storm and outperformed its own FMCG index, which is Colgate Palmolive. Now, if you see Colpal, generally a slow mover, but the kind of consolidation it has witnessed since last 3 months between 2450 and say 2550, we are seeing a breakout of that zone now, and there are adequate volumes also on this stock. So I feel from the current levels, 2530, 2540 should act as a good support, and we should expect levels of 2650, 2670 on the upside. And generally, this is a safe stock to buy in, considering now for the next 1.5 months, we could be in for a volatile period because of the general elections.
Okay, 3:26, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start wrapping up the market on what has been a remarkable day, not only for the Nifty but for the entire Tata Group. The Nifty, of course, started with a bang. 22,500 was the intraday high that the index hit early morning, and then went all the way up to 22,520. This is a record high, and is now trying to shut shop somewhere in the vicinity of 22,485, 22,475. We'll have to see the last half an hour of trade in terms of the closing price, because the average is taken then. It's a day that belongs to the Tata Group, and the theme that has been working throughout the week, starting from Monday, was the value explosion that you see in unlisted Tata Sons shareholders which are in the listed space. So Tata Motors started on Monday, Tata Chemicals was with it, then it was joined by Tata Power day before yesterday, and for the last 4 days we've seen various Tata Group stocks now add to the momentum, in particular Tata Chemicals, which has sort of accelerated 40% over the last 4 sessions, and today is the top traded counter in terms of volumes, which stand anywhere between 6,150 crores. Tata Power has a value of about 4,079 crores. Counter is up 8%. Needless to say, Tata Chemicals and Tata Power are at record highs. Strong momentum coming in Tata Steel, record high here. Tata Motors is reclaiming its lost glory that it had seen on Monday. So Tata Groups have added something to the vicinity of 65,000 crore rupees in market capitalization today, which now stands at about 32 lakh 10,000 crore rupees. And apart from that, you have a lot of movement coming in stocks such as Rallis, stocks such as Tata Consumer as well. So the day belongs to the Tata Group and the day belongs to Nifty. Mild profit booking in Nifty Bank today, 47,800 for you, down about 172 points. Nothing to be worried about. You'll see a record high on Bank Nifty somewhere next week. Sakshi.
Right, and Tata Power has another trigger also, Shell. Just now there's news flow coming in that Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Authority has approved an average tariff hike of 24% versus the request of about 12% that was done by Tata Power. So that's the one that's also helping the stock move up higher in trade as of now. All right, Sudeep, before we let you go, how would you advise investors to start preparing for the next week, and what would the strategy be on Nifty Bank, which is the index that you'll be going with, and which other sectors or the stocks that you'll advise them to be focused on now?
See, for the stocks and the sectors, I just discuss about stocks now. See, if you see stocks like, say, from the PSU space, PSU banking space, Bank of Baroda looks really good. From the capital goods space, we feel Larsen is at a decent place and should be looked on from the next weeks or next 15 days perspective. Stocks, large cap stocks like Sun Pharma, Titan, we are bullish on these names. So we feel it's still better that one concentrates on large caps. And within the mid caps, if someone still has to try to pick some mid cap, then I guess it could be a stock like Blue Star, Astral, or say some Phenolics Industries. So these stocks or these spaces have not seen much of the correction when the markets have corrected on the downside. But when today we are seeing some kind of a stability into the markets, these have been the first one to move up again. So I feel these are the names which I would be betting out for the next week. And let's see, I guess from Monday, I expect some kind of a move from Bank Nifty also after this consolidation today.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Sudeep, for being with us onto this very special edition and sharing all those thoughts and ideas as well. We'll start to wind down the markets. The markets have shut shop, a little on the positive side on the Nifty, 22,484, although we did slip below that 22,500 mark that we had clocked in today. 47,791 for the Nifty Bank. It's lower by about 0.4%. So that's seen some profits taken off right from the sharp moves that we had seen yesterday. Apart from this, autos, private banks, oil and gas, they slipped into the red, but the rest of the sectors maintained themselves into the green. Nifty Metals was the top mover along with the Nifty Media Index as well. FMCG stocks about 1% higher in trade. The mid and the small cap also recovered as well in trade today. Top stocks on the Nifty: Tata Consumer, Tata Steel, Bajaj Auto, JSW Steel, UPL, Tata Motors. These are the top movers on the Nifty. What did not contribute in trade today? Stocks like M&M, BPCL, Reliance slipped into the red. 29.58 as the closing level for Reliance. Axis Bank, LTI Mindtree, ICICI Bank, Power Grid and Titan. These were the laggards towards the end of this session. But clearly, as Shell pointed out, the day belonged to Tata Group, and we will continue to look at all of those developments from the Tata Group even in the next week. Well, for now, many thanks for being with us onto this special edition, and here's wishing all our viewers a very happy Shivratri, and of course, we will see you on the other side of this long weekend.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
अगर कश्मीर की बात होती थी